Prince of Kandahar now has the main contracts for importing and distributing the nitrate fertilizer from which Taliban make these mines. In Kandahar or Helmand or Zabul, every bomb maker who buys nitrate to make his deadly toys is putting money in the pocket of the Prince of Kandahar. And every day, the Prince of Kandahar commands more trucks of these nitrates to be driven across the border from Chaman. The grey powder spreads death. The Prince of Kandahar is no stranger to the poisonous powders. He first became famous for organizing the Popalzais to take over the trade in heroin. Every day, his friends' truck carry heroin from Kandahar and Helmand to the border with Persia to sell death to the world. Again, it is not just foreigners who are killed by his powders. All youths know friends whose lives have been wasted by this heroin. Before the coming of the Prince of Kandahar, our provinces did not have a single addict. But the Prince of Kandahar has made us like Pakistan, where the wrecks of heroin addicts will sell the last light bulb in their room to buy the poisonous powder. And now we hear that the Prince of Kandahar has started to trade in a new poisonous powder. His truck brings the ingredients from Pakistan. They do something with it in the factories which are used to process heroin. Finally, the prince's trucker friends take the white powder to Persia. I do not know what it is for, but I know that truly it is a powder of death. The Prince of Kandahar has only been doing this for 6 months, but already I've received many reports of people who have fallen sick after working with the powder. Haji Nur Muhammad of Spin Boldak, truck owner, Gul Majid of Daman, cleaner, Faizi of Panjwai, driver, Mirwais and Omar Parloch of Musa Qala, factory workers. These are the cases I know about. All of them have fallen sick, nosebleeds and blocked chests. Who knows what will happen to them in the future? I think the prince's white powder is killing them slowly. If you've been close to the white powder or live near the places where they store it, take note of your symptoms. You may already be sicker than you realize. Ask the Prince of Kandahar. He knows about his white powder and what it can do to the innocent. His new white powder promises only poison and death to all who deal with it. If you want a long life, stay far away from the Prince of Kandahar. The Prince of Baghlan. We could of course call you the Prince of America, for this is where you've come from, Russia brother. You're the smooth brother who builds up a business empire, the only one to acknowledge some of his wealth. The only sources of this wealth are favors from the palace and muscle from your friends. Your first big prize was the cement factory of Polykhomri, the coal mines of the north and all the land and buildings attached. They belonged to the people of Afghanistan. But you and a few friends bought them for a song. But we're not worried, because when you flee back to America, you'll have to leave the property of the people of Afghanistan behind. But the family did not need you to make cement and to mine coal. They wanted you to launder the money. This is why your real job is minding the banks. In more modest times, the thief would rob a bank. But your passion seems to be in buying banks and partnering with the gambling mafia, who first found this way of persuading Afghans to part with their money voluntarily. Now the brothers, partners in the opium trade have all joined you in these banks. For a while, you had to send sacks of money out to Dubai to invest. Now that you have the banks, your proceeds from opium and theft can be whisked away with the speed of a transfer order. You're supposed to be the smooth businessman, but the longer you stay in Afghanistan, the more you start to behave like those thugs on whom you depend for the business muscle. How many people have you had picked up and beaten to press your claims for payment. Some foreigners may be tricked by the name into honoring you, but every Afghan knows you for what you are. Kandahar's answer to the Galam Jam. The King of Kabul. You dream of establishing a dynasty that lasts for 1,000 years, the King of Kings. But a man whose only consistent quality is his lack of constancy cannot build something that lasts for 10 years, let alone 1,000. Every Afghan who has dealt with you knows that your promises are like bricks made of sand. You can only last as long as the foreigners prop you up, and that will only be until they finally despair of the false promises and lies. Prepare to leave, for your time is almost finished. Your style of leadership is that of a Madari. Everything for you is a trick or a charade. But defending and building this country require sacrifice. How can someone who tricks and jokes expect his people and his soldiers to make these sacrifices? I speak little of you, for your real sin is unleashing the brother princes and your accomplices on the country like so many dogs set upon unsuspecting children. You sit in your palace afraid to meet your own people until they have been frisked and passed through the metal detectors. But all outside the palace gates will steal and spy by your own authority. Add to your ignominy in the Book of Kings. The Wazir. In every chapter of our Shahnama, from the dawn of history, there has been an evil Wazir. It is he who wins the confidence of the king with false words of praise and promises of eternal loyalty. But he abuses the confidence of the king. He tricks the king into fearing people who bore him no ill will. He hides the king from the king's friends and surrounds him with enemies. He raises alarms, creates new enmities, and confuses the king by sharing false secrets, forged letters, and invented intelligence. The Wazir commissions murder and theft in the name of the king. On the day of judgment, who will be answerable for this evil, the Wazir or the king, or both? In our chapter, the name of the evil Wazir is Omar Daudzai, a manipulator who surpasses any of those who have destroyed our earlier kings. It is no wonder that truth is a stranger in the presidential palace, while Omar Daudzai guards the door. Omar Daudzai now encourages the president to take a stand against the foreigners. He angers the president with invented stories of mistakes of ISAF to create a divide between our government and the world. Daudzai lied to the president that ISAF uses its helicopters to transport Taliban. Only a madman or an evil wazir would spread such foolish stories. But Daudzai, if you're such a nationalist, where does your own money come from? When Daudzai took up his seat in the presidential palace, his salary was paid by the foreigners. In office, he played the nationalist, but he took his pay in dollars from UNDP. But at least UNDP is a neutral organization.